As graduation draws closer and closer, the challenge facing our students to answer the question, what's next, grows larger and larger. At the University of Washington's Department of Communication, we embrace this challenge through the creation of career explorations. Through these treks, our students get a chance to discover and interact with recent alumni in their professional settings. This fall, we visited New York communication pros from Teen Vogue, Facebook, Deutsche Advertising, Vice, Marie Claire, and the Metropolitan Museum of Art. These exchanges give our students the opportunity to expand their networks and to discover what it takes to make their next steps their own reality.
One of the biggest impacts that I took away from today was, I think Jessica Heinmiller said it, was just, own it. Wherever you are in an interview, whether you're in a job, whatever situation you're in, just own it. Give it all you have, because what you do and the work that you prove to whoever your manager, your boss, or your coworkers, that's going to be your reputation, and you really need to own it.
I think that a communication degree sets you apart in a sense that you have all of these different, you've learned all of these different concepts and all of these different, ideas from a communication standpoint versus the business standpoint that you can really apply to almost any situation in this industry. And I think that it you can come at it from a creative standpoint versus like totally business driven. And I think that's what's really helped me, because I think that having the communication background, for me at least, it just made it, I feel like I had that competitive edge, whereas like I had the idea of the kind of stuff they were learning in the business school, but I was able to apply it to like relevant stuff that we deal with every day and I deal with at work. So I think it's really beneficial.
We're off to Facebook.
I really liked Facebook. I really like the atmosphere of the office and what they do. I think the mix of seeing different professions and different industries and atmospheres, along with 7 other students who want to go into a variety of things, really helped me with what my future goals are. Seeing not only what people are doing now, but what people my age, what their goals are and what they're doing to get there. And that really helped, definitely.
So I absolutely think that the journalism skills that I picked up at UW have transferred to what I'm doing now. Things like empathy that you learn through interviewing, just being able to understand where people are coming from, also tell a story about, what's going on, what you're working on, what the issues are, and bringing context to those larger things that are happening in the world and why they're important and why people need to pay attention to them.
Definitely at Deutsche Advertising. There I kind of just had an epiphany. For a while I was a bit confused if I wanted to work in television or not. I knew I wanted to work with media and entertainment, but coming on this trip I really wanted to learn more about PR and events marketing. And while I was at Deutsche Advertising, one of the workers that was there talked about her job as a producer. And that was something that I've always wanted to do, but I felt like I couldn't do it because I didn't have the creative skills of Photoshop or working with video editing. But seeing how she does her job and that she sees the job as a producer as leading a project and knowing how to find the answer to problems and work with different situations is what a producer actually does. I feel like I have the capability of doing that.
Life is a gut thing, but business is even more, and especially as it relates to what we do in advertising. When you are interviewing for jobs, you are interviewing that job and those people as much as they are interviewing you.
Yeah, so today we had a full day. We went from like traditional media places like Marie Claire to newer areas like Vice, something in between with advertising agencies. And I think the biggest takeaway from all of that is that good stories don't matter. And that, no matter what field I decide to go into within communications, that this storytelling dream I had when I was little, it's still out there and I can still pursue that.
I think for a while there was all these forecasts of like journalism's dying, the news industry is ending, and it certainly has changed a lot. Like there's staffs have gotten smaller, but at the same time I think we're in like incredibly exciting and promising new time for journalism. Like companies like Vice and BuzzFeed and that really understand digital media and how people read the news online are doing incredibly well business-wise. It's journalism, like so many other industries, is equal parts who you know as what you do. So having a network set up, whether that's professors or your peers who are older than you, have graduated and started jobs, people that you've met over the course of your time at UW will be very helpful in getting you jobs. You have control over the work that you do yourself, and that's really important, but it's also meeting people and keeping in touch with them and keeping a network of people who can, be there when you need a job and say, hey, I'm looking for a job. Do you know of anything? Can you talk to this person? You got to have both of those things.
The biggest takeaway, there's a lot of people, great people. I think the biggest ones that they all told me just don't be afraid to go out there and network. Don't be afraid to, whether it's emailing somebody or linking up with someone on LinkedIn. I think that's the biggest thing that separates a lot of students is just going out there. I think that's the most common lesson I've heard these past 2 days. Just don't be afraid, go out there, network with people, and just try something new.
Pretty much my whole life I've known that I wanted to work in fashion, but it seems so far away since we live in Seattle and there's nothing, there's Nordstrom and Eddie Bauer, but nothing really as powerful as everything that's in New York and LA. So it was really interesting for me to talk to people like the girl from Teen Vogue and the girl from Marie Claire who are living that life. It makes it feel more attainable. So it just really shows that you can do it and that it's possible.
Just from my perspective, what I think is really important, idea generation. I feel often at the end of the day, my brain has been you squeeze water out of a egg, because that is so key to journalism is just constantly having that curiosity and coming up with new ideas, and that's only more the case with the web. If you do any sort of web writing, a lot of people I know that is their job. They write multiple posts a day, and that's just constant ideas,
PR, journalism, fashion, event marketing, that's what we do here. But you say, wait a minute, you're a museum. But we do all of that, and today's modern museum means the ability to take art and use all these other tools and communications platforms to tell our stories. And I think a lot about storytelling because that's essentially what museums need to be doing a better job of.
So networking with all of these alumni and professional, it was crazy, it was amazing. But another part of this trip that was also mind-blowing was just networking with the people, the students, my peers, who also came on this trip with me. I think through these 2 or 3 days, we really bonded and we got to know each other really well, especially since we had to get to know each other professionally as well as personally.
Going to all these different companies, I was really able to see all the different aspects of the media industry, from going from Facebook to a magazine company or even an ad agency. You can see how all these things have common skills that you can do. And I look at what I've learned in the curriculum at the UW Communications Department, and I can see that, a lot of this is possible. You can make something out of yourself in these careers. After visiting all these people and learning of their own stories, going on this trip has really shown me what I can really become.